I don't know if you guys have noticed, but Instagram have been spilling some tea recently. They have been sharing a lot of content where they spill all the secrets to how you can grow on Instagram according to Instagram. Now, to save you from having to go through all of this content they've been sharing, myself and my team have collated the most game-changing advice that Instagram has shared into this one video. So let's get going. All right, let's kick off with the big one, the algorithm. Now, the head of Instagram, Adam Mosseri, shared a video recently where he explained that shares were actually one of the most valuable signals that you can send to Instagram's algorithm.
One of the most important signals we use in ranking is sends per reach. So out of all the people who saw your reel or your photo, how many of them sent it to a friend in a DM?
Now, if you didn't know already, Instagram uses an algorithm to power its platform. There are signals that we can send to Instagram's algorithm to try and get it to realize that our content is great. When we send enough of these signals, Instagram's algorithm will pick up on our content and will push it out to more people. And that's basically how people go viral on Instagram. What Adam Mosseri is saying in this video is that shares, so when people share your content, is actually one of the most important signals you can send, which means if we create content which is designed to get our audience to share it with more people, we are more likely to hit the algorithm and potentially go viral. This is quite a big deal, guys. They've never shared that with us before. And maybe that's because this is a recent change, or maybe it's always been the case. We don't know. Point is, start to create content that is designed to be shared and you will probably see your content perform better. Let's stay on the theme of the algorithm because there have been a few additional nuggets of information that I just want to share here. Instagram have recently confirmed that when you share a piece of content, the algorithm evaluates that piece of content on its own.
We primarily evaluate each post on its own merits. Just because a post underperforms doesn't mean future posts are going to see reduced reach or distribution.
The exception to this is if, of course, your content is being restricted for some reason, and you can check this by checking your account status. It will tell you if your content's being restricted. If it is being restricted, it's because you've broken some form of community guidelines, so you want to stop doing that, and you might even want to appeal their decision, which you can do inside the app. If your content isn't being restricted though, then you can consider every new post as a new opportunity to reach new people. They have come out and said that shadow banning is not real. They've said this before and people don't believe them, but hey, that's what they've said again. Along similar lines, Instagram have recently confirmed that if you edit a piece of content, that piece of content will not be re-ranked by the algorithm.
We don't re-rank a piece of content because you've made changes to it, like editing the caption.
So what this means is if you upload a piece of content and then you change the caption, for example, Instagram will not review that piece of content as if it's new and give it a new ranking. It won't look at that and think,
oh my God, this caption's so much better. We're going to make it blow up.
It's not going to do that. It's also not going to restrict the performance of your content either. So there was a myth a while ago that said if you edit your caption, then your content won't be recommended. Instagram have said that this is not the case. If you edit your caption, nothing much will happen other than the fact that your audience will view a different caption. Instagram have also said that your content could potentially reach new people for weeks and weeks to come.
Now, it's true most things you post are going to get most of their reach in, let's call it 2 days, but some things are more evergreen in nature. And a lot of what people consume on Instagram is from accounts they don't follow. We call those recommendations. And most recommendations are actually more than 2 days old. So keep an eye on engagement on those play counts, like counts, etc. Not only over those first 2 days, but over the first week, 2, or even 3.
Previously, Instagram was the type of platform where it was very short term in terms of the performance of your content. It was like you shared a post, it would reach people for a few days, and then it would kind of fall off the face of the earth. But what it's now saying is that actually evergreen content, which is basically content which remains relevant for months and years to come, so it's the opposite of topical or seasonal content. They're basically saying that evergreen content can continue to reach new people for weeks and weeks to come. So try to avoid deleting your content because you never know how it might perform in the long run. And also keep an eye on your insights so that you can see if your content is starting to blow up and potentially reach a new audience. Last piece of advice on the algorithm, which I think is worth noting from Instagram, is they have said that it's important to experiment and get creative with your content, and also to try to avoid letting yourself get bogged down with the algorithm too much because it might impact your creativity.
I want Instagram to be a place where creatives can feel comfortable experimenting and expressing themselves.
Yeah.
And just a personal note on this, I know this whole video is about what Instagram is saying, so I'm really trying to just focus on that. But I do think this piece of advice touches on something really important, which is that just because your content is performing well right now and is hitting the algorithm, doesn't mean that it's going to consistently perform well in the future if you don't evolve and experiment with your types of content. The algorithm is constantly changing, your audience is constantly changing, so it is important to experiment. Something that I often forget as well, that I have to remind myself. All right, moving moving on from the algorithm, let's talk about hashtags. I cannot believe it's 2024 and we're having a conversation about hashtags. Hashtags have not been a big, important conversation topic for a really long time on Instagram. The reason why is because Instagram introduced Instagram search, and that became the new way to find new content. Previously, the way you would find new content would be either the explore page or searching a hashtag, but now it's the explore page or it's search. So hashtags became less relevant. But let's discuss what Instagram has to say about how hashtags work this year and beyond. So the head of Instagram, Adam Mosseri, has said repeatedly now,
do hashtags improve
Yeah.
visibility? And you said no.
Not really.
I just like screenshotted that.
now what he's made clear is that hashtags can help other people find your content when they're looking for a specific type of content. If you're using the hashtag puppy, because I got a puppy on my lap, then there is a chance that people looking for puppy content might find your content easier because you've used that hashtag. However, Instagram has said that it won't necessarily increase your reach. It's a bit of like is it an oxymoron? I don't know. It's a bit of an interesting thing to say there, because on the one hand, you're saying if there are a group of people looking for puppy content, they might find your content easier if you've used the hashtag. But on the other hand, you're saying that you're not going to reach more people. But surely if more people are finding your content with the hashtag, then that does mean you're reaching more people. I don't know. We're trying not to focus on my thoughts here. We're focusing on what Instagram's saying. They also said that you shouldn't use a lot of hashtags to maximize your reach, and that the quality of your hashtags is much more important. We kind of know this already, guys.
You should try to be very intentional with the hashtags you include and focus only on the ones that are relevant to the content you're publishing.
All right, so let's talk about the actual content that you're sharing and some tips, tricks, strategies that Instagram have said will help you grow. First off, they've said that content which evokes strong emotions like excitement or fear tends to perform well across the board. They've also said that Instagram Reels, in addition to other content, which is niched down or focuses on a specific community, so basically has a really clear audience, for example, content which is designed for football fans or which focus on furniture design, that kind of stuff, like very specific, often performs well too. The reason for this is that it resonates more deeply with its desired audience and it encourages more private sharing versus public sharing. And the important thing to note about what I said at the top of this video about how shares are super important, they haven't said that a type of sharing is more important than the other. So you're really just trying to get someone to share full stop, whether it's shared privately via DMs or shared publicly on their stories, it doesn't matter. You just want people to share your content. Let's talk about Instagram's features and how we should actually be using them. Again, according to Instagram. First off,
one thing that I learned about Instagram is that they're rolling out features constantly and it's in your best interest to use them all.
We have said this before and now Instagram are saying it too. Use it, experiment with it. The example that they actually used was this new feature which is called Close Friends Lives. It's basically your ability to go live but only for your close friends. By the way, I have a whole video on Instagram features which I'm pretty sure should be live by the time you're watching this, so I'm going to link to it up here. That's the example that they use, and they said you should trial these new features because your content is more likely to be seen. A little tidbit from me, I know we're not focusing on my tips, I'm so sorry, but I just want to throw this in there. A good example of a new-ish feature that if you use right now is actively helping you reach more people is the add yours sticker on Instagram stories. I know it's not completely new, it's been around for a little while, but if you use the add yours sticker on your stories, your entire series of stories from that day will be seen by more people. Try it, thank me in the comments, because I'm telling you, it works. They also mentioned Notes. Notes is a new feature, it's like a little status. They actually compare it to an MSN status, which is interesting because Notes is targeting a younger generation who I don't think knows what MSN is. But it's like a little status that you can add to your profile. They've made it quite clear that they're pushing this feature. However, Notes are not good for you reaching a new audience. They're actually about engaging your existing audience and starting conversations with your existing community. So keep that in mind when you're using Notes. Instagram also shared an interesting little tidbit about carousels.
Carousels give you multiple chances to show up in people's feeds because we might show the first post in the carousel to someone, and then if they don't swipe to the second or the third, we might show it again, automatically swipe to the second or to the third post.
So if you put yourself in your audience's shoes, you've probably noticed this before, you'll be scrolling and see a carousel, not engage with it and carry on scrolling. The next time you open Instagram, you might see that same carousel, but a different frame. So you'll see the second slide or the third slide. Instagram has done that on purpose to give you another opportunity to engage with that carousel. This does not mean that you should only be sharing carousels or that if you share carousels, your audience are guaranteed to see them more frequently. That's not what I'm saying. It's just an interesting tidbit to be aware of. Instagram has also said that it's a good idea to focus on Reels. They've said that over 50% of engagement on Instagram comes from people watching your Reels. They believe this is the case because Reels provide a great way for you to connect with your audience because they can hear you, they can see you, so they're getting this full experience. They also said that a target for Reels is to share 10 a month.
A target is probably
around 10 a month.
Which is interesting. I've never heard them come out and give like a specific number or quantity of reels to share. They've said 10 a month, so do with that information what you will. And that is what Instagram has been saying about how you can grow on their platform. Wasn't that interesting? I found this whole exercise very enlightening. Shout out to Hayley and my team for collating a lot of that information. I'd love to hear which one of those pieces of advice that I shared in this video resonates the most with you or surprises you the most. Let me know in the comments. If you feel like hanging around, I recommend watching this video. It's all about the recent changes that have been made to Instagram's algorithm. A very important video to watch if you are interested in using Instagram in any way now and in the future. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I can't wait to see my next video.